Welcome all. Today in building services, we will get to know about what is switch gears and also the layout of substations. That is, how to plan the layout of substations. First, switch gears. So it is nothing but the combination or an assembly of these switching devices which was necessary or intended to use in the connection with generation, transmission, distribution and conservation of the electrical energy. All these devices are coming into an assembly or the combination which is known as the switch gears. So the National Building Code specifies that the following features has to be ensured in the electrical installation with respect to the switchgear assembly and also its surroundings. First point, that is the switch gears and its protective devices shall have the braking capacity not less than the anticipated fault level in the system at that point. Next, the isolation and the controlling circuit breakers shall be interlocked so that the isolators cannot be operated unless the corresponding breaker is in open condition. And it is mandatory to provide a power factor improvement capacitor. That is, suitable capacitor may be selected in consultation with the capacitor as well as the switchgear manufacturer depending upon the systems which we use. Then necessary switchgear or the feeder circuit breakers shall be provided for controlling of the capacitor tank. Then the sufficient additional space has to be provided in the switch rooms for the proper maintenance and also for the easy operations. That is, as well as proper means shall be provided for isolating the equipments to allow access for servicing, testing and maintenance. Then sufficient additional space shall be allowed for the temporary location and installation of the standard servicing and the testing equipments. This space should also be allowed to provide the anticipated future extensions. Then the electrical installations in a room or the cubicle or in an area surrounded by the wall fence. So access to which is controlled by lock and key shall be considered accessible by the authorized person only. No other additional persons has to be allowed without any proper permission. A wall or the fence so that is less than 1.8 meter in height shall not be considered as preventing access unless it has other features that provide a degree of isolation equivalent to a 1.8 meter fence. Next, the harmonics on the supply systems are becoming a greater problem due to increasing use of the electronic equipments, computers and fluorescents, mercury vapors and the sodium vapor lightings. So controlled rectifiers and inventors for the variable speed drivers, then power electronics and the other non-linear loads. So the harmonics may lead to almost as much current in the neutral as in the phase. So the phase rectification devices shall be installed if required. Next is about the layout of substations. That is, what are the factors we have to consider in planning the layout for the substations. So the substations or the switch room of a building is a location inside or outside of the building where the assembly of the energy meter, main board, distribution board and other accessories are installed and maintained. So here the NBC, National Building Code, also gives and provides some guidelines. That is, the substation should preferably be located in the separate buildings and could be adjacent to the generator room. Location of the substation in the basement floors shall be avoided as far as possible. And the ideal location for an electrical substations for a group of buildings would be at the electrical load center on the ground floor. Then the floor level of the substations or the switch rooms should be above the highest floor level of the locality. It should be not below that. Then the substations with the oil fill equipment shall not be located in any floor other than the ground floor, or the sub basement can be also provided, allowed. Such substations with the high oil contents may be housed in a separate service buildings or a substation buildings which is not a part of the multi-story building. Also, it should be ensured that there shall be at least 3 meter clear distance between the adjoining buildings and substations, such that the fire tender is able to pass between the two structures. In case of substations is to be located within the main multi-story building itself for some unavoidable reasons, then it should be located on the floor close to the ground level, but shall have the direct access from the street for the operation of the equipments. So the substation located within a multi-story buildings shall not have a oil-filled transformers even if it is at the ground level. The power supply control of the substations or the transformer located at the basement level or the upper floor shall be from a location on the ground floor having the direct access from the outside, so that in case of fire the electrical supply can be easily disconnected. Next, if the tri-type transformer is used, it may be located adjacent to the medium voltage switchgear in the form of the unit type substations. So no separate rooms or fire barriers for the transformers required in a substation with the oil-free equipments. So in such case, a room size will be decreased. Then the emergency power supply like the generators shall not be allowed to be installed above the ground floor or below first basement level of the buildings. So there shall be provisions of the separate direct escapes and a entry into these areas from outside, so that in case of any fire accident, so the electrical supply can be disconnected to avoid additional losses which may be caused due to the electrical supply present at the time of the fire. Then the availability of the power lines nearby may also be kept in view while deciding the location of the substation. Then all the door openings from the substations, electrical rooms should open towards the outside. So in allocating the area of the substations, it is to be noted that the flow of electric power is from supply authorities transmission line to the high voltage room, then to the transformer, and finally to the medium voltage switch gear rooms. So the layout of the room shall be in accordance with this flow so as to optimize the cable and bus trackings, etc. So the visibility of equipments control from the operating point of the controlling switchgear is also a disable feature, though it may not be achievable in case of large substations. So these are the factors which NBC recommend to which should be considered while planning the layout of the substations. Thank you.